So, yeah, my name is Vincentz Petzholtz. I'm the head of network at Inter.link. So you should definitely check us out. We are the new ones on the market. Yeah, that's the last slide. Yeah, I'm done. So that was it. Thanks you for having me. Yeah, actually, this is my first UKNOF. I've been in the business for quite some time now, but never made it here. So I thought would be the easiest way to introduce myself by putting myself on the stage. And yeah, we'll talk about RIPE database handling, which is mainly like a burden, I would say. And how many people of you are working at or for in RIPE LIR? Yeah. And the rest of it maybe don't know it, but they are affected by this as well. So what's the challenge? Basically, when you work for LIR, for an ISP, you will have most likely hundreds, thousands, or 10,000 of prefixes, right? And you may not be aware of this, even if you are responsible for RIPE database handling. There are quite a few policies which apply to you as how much you should document in the RIPE database, what are your obligations, how much stuff you should put in there, and how detailed it should be. So, and this is like I don't know, like just other people had a lot of text. I don't have a lot of that. So that maybe displays just the state of we want to have our RIPE database state to have, but the reality is somehow a little bit different, right? So I don't know, like which of one of you would admit that the state of your RIPE database entries is not up to date? Anyone? Yeah, you're the honest ones. So it's a mess, basically, and nobody really wants to deal with it, especially not by hand. We tend to just walk by, say, well, look at it, no, I have no more important stuff to do, and then just pass along. Why is that? I guess it's because it's super exciting work. So I guess 90–95% of the time it's INET num objects, abuse handling, tech C, admin C, boring shit like that. But it should be easy, right, Vincentz? Because I know I use NetBox, and NetBox has a feature for that that's called webhooks, which is basically HTTP calls. And I also have the Whois REST API from the RIPE database. So just bring them together in a speed dating and then just pump up the HTTP calls to the API, and then it's fine, right? Wrong. The data schemas for both of those databases are quite different. You have to augment the missing data in NetBox for the RIPE database before you can do something. And we were sure we were not the first ones with this issue, and we never want to do anything manual, and we take a look around and we ain't found a lot, or not much, let's put it that way. So we knew that we needed to do something on our own, which is called now the RIPE Updater. What is it? It's basically a middleware between NetBox webhooks and the RIPE database API. What are the main features? I want to automate INET and INET 6 objects because it's most likely 90–95% of the objects which needs updating. Not so, you're changing not your route objects or your DNS delegation that much, I guess, because that can be quite service affecting. You want to have some basic validation. You do not want to put like wrong stuff or bullshit into the database. And you want to have some simple templating to not like repeat yourself all the time. You want to have some backups because you may have a legal department or some other people asking you questions about like holder of records at a specific point in time. And you want to have some basic reporting. What are the requirements? Fairly straightforward. You need to have NetBox 2.4. If you do not have that or an older version, you have other problems to deal with. You need to have the RIPE database maintainer password. At least as far as I know, there is still no token-based API access to the RIPE database. And not even talking about role, having RBAC, so role-based access model applied to that. So when you do that, you're handing out basically the key to the castle, because with the maintainer password you can delete everything. But you need that at the point in time. We already talked to RIPE about it, and they are working on it, but as far as I know, it's not there yet. And you need some platform to run the Python code, most likely a VM or just a Docker container. So how does it integrate with NetBox? How many people here are using NetBox? Yeah, that's very good. But yeah, I would have hoped like for a few more hands. So we have decided to opt in for a very simple approach. So we have two custom fields. One is to determine or give the control to the one documenting. Do you want to report this to RIPE? Because there may be different reasons why I don't want to report stuff to RIPE, maybe private stuff or IP addresses or prefixes which are handled in a VRF or something like that, that does not really belong into the RIPE database. And you want to attach some templates to it to make it easy to update. So you do not want your people to really put in any effort documenting this stuff. And a lot of other things you can derive from that. How does it really work? So it's starting with NetBox webhook. So you create, modify, or delete a prefix, and it will create a post request to the RIPE updater service. You just have to configure webhooks one time. Next step is that we will have to augment the information which we get from the prefix from NetBox with some local templates, which is JSON at the moment. You can expand it or solve it differently, but this is the approach we have taken so far. So the template will then complete the information I need to do some checks and to put the object into the RIPE database. But before I can do that, actually the RIPE database regarding inetnum objects does not support overlaps. So for example, if you have like already a mess in the RIPE database and you document some stuff, it's very likely that you will not be able to do this because there's an overlap. And before you delete the overlap, you want to make sure that you really want to delete it. So what the RIPE updater is doing, I don't know how many times I would say RIPE in this talk, you will check for an overlap in the RIPE database. And then, because NetBox is your single source of truth, you will check for the same prefix in NetBox again and see if it's present. If it is, RIPE updater will abort and will throw an error message and will inform you about you have to resolve something manually. Or it will see that the overlap in the RIPE database, it's not existing in NetBox. So, and then the RIPE updater will simply delete it from the RIPE database for you. Next point is I want to have a backup of the old objects. That's very easy. And then I can perform the actual update action. And the last step, optional, but I also want to get notified by that. So to wrap things up, when you shift your RIPE database state to a machine-generated state, you will no longer be doing any manual stuff in the RIPE database, at least not regarding those objects we support right now. And it's a constant stream. So it's different than you will push some button or have some scripts, because every time you create, modify, or even delete a prefix in NetBox, it will be streaming those updates into the RIPE database. So we can wipe, at Inter.link, we can wipe all the inetnum objects and just need 3 clicks, and NetBox will pump up all the prefix updates from NetBox to the RIPE database again. So basically the RIPE database is disposable for us. So we'll also have all-time consistent state. You will be relaxed about any audit, and what we also find out that if you have customers with a lot of abuse going on, you will definitely benefit from always up-to-date abuse handling on those records. So might be a good idea, and we got lowered our abuse, because when like somebody wants to do about some of your customers, they will try to contact the customer directly, but if there's nothing documented in the RIPE database, they will contact you because you're the holder of the resources. And this is on GitHub. We released it on RIPE 84, and yeah, you're free to take a look at it, use it, ask us questions if you got a problem with it. We still are polishing it from time to time, and also have some future plans for it, but you can also get on board on that. Questions?
Is there any in the room questions to come up to the microphone? And is there any online questions? Or just wait a minute to allow for the web delay for the online questions?
I can ask questions if you miss some. Yeah, so sometimes it's the question why it's only ripe, right? So that has something to do with our footprint right now. So we only are in Europe and we are going to expand worldwide. So we will most likely have the issue or the challenge of adapting the ripe updater to be something version 2.0 to support the other RIAs as well. So that's a very common one. And also some ask about like, do you support route or DNS objects? It's fairly easy to add this, but you really want to make sure that you have a lot of sanity checks there, because when you delete route objects or DNS delegation, you may have a bad time 24 hours after you do this. It depends on like how many times the other peers update their configuration, but you might go offline in some parts.
No questions online? Okay, I'll ask a question then. Okay, so switch hats, no longer UKNOF. Hello, I'm James Benslow, work at Inter.link, the same company as you. You're my boss, good to see you.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what a fantastic talk, never seen a better one in my life.
I note that, yeah.
I'll ask a question. It's because several people know that I work with you and on this project, so I've been getting this question a lot, so I'll ask it to you so everyone else can hear it. Do you also support Nautobot with this plugin? Will it work with Nautobot?
Yeah. So as far as I know, Nautobot is still exactly the same or very similar in regards of webhooks. So yes, I guess we haven't tested it yet, but Nautobot also supports custom fields and stuff like that. So yes, you should be able to integrate that as well.
Several people have asked me, so it's not on the roadmap to keep Nautobot supported, though. If Nautobot forks off and it doesn't work anymore, we're not going to fix it.
Yeah, but you can contribute as open source, right? You could also get on board. If there's any special thing about Nautobot which does the ripe updater make it not work for Nautobot, then I think it should be fairly easy to fix if it occurs. But so far, as I'm aware, it's not an issue.
Hi, Ivan Beveridge from IG. Assuming we start off kind of from scratch, let's say, we don't have NetBox. We've got ripe entries. Is there a way to kind of introduce this insofar as you kind of add it, and then you can kind of control in some way what updates it's going to do? So rather than, for example, us having entries that we think, oh, that's all right, now we spin up NetBox, spin this up, kind of add the prefixes in, and then find out that it's sending updates that are adjusting our ripe entries that we aren't ready for it to do yet. Does that make sense? So to kind of almost sort of control what emails or what updates are being sent out to make sure that we don't trash what we've already got.
There's no staging request feature or something like that, so you could always say that I limit myself to certain prefixes for the start, so you could make sure that you have no objects for a certain prefix or aggregate, and then you could do your tests on that. You could also say that you're just using the custom field and prohibit any updates on that. But yeah, I mean, we also had this moment of like, we had to wipe our stuff, and we certainly didn't delete it all at once at that stage when we weren't so sure about it. But we started aggregate per aggregate, and like after a couple thousands of objects, we were sure it was working nicely, and now it's in place for something around 3 years. So yeah, you should just go smaller steps, I would propose to do that.
It's the classic kind of moving from fully manual to automatic and not wanting to kind of mess it up.
Yeah. What you will definitely have is extensive logging on that, so we will be able to tell like if there was an object before and how does it look like before you screw with it. So that's definitely possible. And if you like capable of reading, writing Python, then you will have a lot more options on that, of course.
Understood. Thank you for that.
No more questions. No questions came online, so
Okay.
that's all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Vincentz.